We will now hear remarks from Governor Walz, Senate Majority Leader Aaron Murphy, Speaker Demuth, and myself. We will begin with Governor Walz.
I knew to not go there. To members of the House and Senate, both present and past, to Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, our constitutional officers, to our sovereign tribal leaders, thank you all for being here today on a moment that I think many of us thought about, wondered how this would feel. And as I came out of my office today, and having been here over the last 8 months, it's been quiet, but to hear this building wake up to the People's House when all of you are back, and to be here for Mark and Melissa, to the Hortman family, to Harry and Linda, Colin, Sophie, and the entire family. Hard to come up with the words, but as I think 8 months of this tragedy and watching you have to endure not just the loss, but the very public grieving, the grace and dignity and decency that you've conducted yourself is a lesson for all of us. You've not only had to grieve, you've had to figure out how life goes on. We had a wedding in there, and Colin, thank you for allowing me to sing at your wedding. I am incredibly grateful for that. But to watch a family gather and try and heal, to watch a community, a thank you to our honor guards and a thank you, Representative, for honoring Gilbert, who was lost in this. For all of us, for me, first time being back in this space since I have had the privilege of serving in state government. It's the first time without Melissa, the Speaker. And I don't think it was any secret that we were partners, and she was a security blanket. But I think it's important in this space to say we were partners, but we had two very different jobs. She was very clear. She was the Speaker of the House. And when she meant that, she meant this entire building. And she often reminded me, each and every one of the people who sat in front of you have their own election certificate, and that matters. And I think for many of you who know, it was very rare to find Melissa Hortman having a harsh word about anybody. But she did it, and she reserved it for those times when we earned it, myself included. And after it happened, I stepped back, as we should, and tried to be more self-reflective. It was an incredible gift for her to understand that. I don't think that got told. I think this institution, the sense of democracy, and for each and every one of you, if I would start going on a partisan rant, it was Speaker Hortman who would many times redirect that to, what is your goal, Governor, to get done here? Because it's certainly not the rant. It needs to be something else. And is this going to get us any closer to where you're trying to go? That's wisdom. That's experience, that's decency, that's leadership, and those things were all exhibited. And so trying to wrap my mind around this, because I hear people talk about it and they know that there was a shooting in Minnesota and elected officials and Senator Hoffman and Yvette and his family. The public reached out. They understood what this was. They understood it was an assault on the democracy. But I think it's hard to express the loss, the sense of, I don't know if calling it the loss of innocence is right, but what was taken from all of us, and the sense of each and every one of you doing public service with your family. And to watch this family, to watch this body, to watch our state try and grapple and move through this, and other tragedies have come on top of it as we're living through. But I think it's important in this moment, and I'm grateful to this body, Leader Stevenson, to every for pausing, for making note of this, because again, the way you honor Melissa and Mark is how we conduct ourselves afterwards. It's one thing to be reflective to the past and to tell stories of the past. It's another to what did we learn from that. And I would just close with where it started when I got to know Melissa Hortman, got to know the speaker, and it was in 2019. And again, Minnesota's unique in this. Very few states have divided legislators. I think at the time there were two. I think it was us and Alaska maybe. I'm not sure. It's very rare, which meant we had to work together. That was the first session in 2019, and the last one was, of course, last year. And in both cases, we had divided legislators. We had very spirited discussions, and we ended with budgets that served the people of Minnesota. We didn't all get what we wanted, but we got compromises that got things done. And I think understanding that is that when I first got here, some of you know this, the speaker gave me the book, Getting to Yes. And those of you who are familiar with it, it's negotiating from a position that everybody needs to be part of it. Everybody needs to get there. And she gave this book to myself, to Senator Gazelka, and then she had it. And we read it, and we tried to do a little book club thing where we'd come back together and talk about it. But the book club was the actual session. And something that I have kept the whole time, and I think if you want to know who the heart and soul when it came to the legislator and the person that Melissa Hortman was, she wrote a very short note that accompanied this. And keep in mind, this is 2019, it's the first session. I came here after 12 years in Congress, so all of you knew that was a bad sign to start with. But she made clear about level setting what this place was and what our job was. And if you would just allow me, and I have not shared this with anyone, but I do think it's important. Dear Governor Walz, I'm looking forward to our work in the coming weeks to finalize a budget that gives Minnesotans the quality of public services they deserve. I also do believe that you, Senate Majority Leader Gazelka, and I can do this differently than it's been done in recent years in Minnesota and certainly in Washington, D.C. Governing is very different from campaigning. We'll take the fight to our opponents in 2020 elections. But in the meantime, we need to find win-wins together and the humanity in each other. Thanks for doing what you're doing. I look forward to our deliberations. Always, Melissa. And for me, it was the grounding of what it takes to get things done here, the grounding in the humanity that we all share, the grounding in that this is hard work. I think the grounding in getting to yes is a lot harder than simply saying no. It's a lot harder to get to yes than to dig in and believe you're right and the other side has nothing to offer. So as I stand in front of you for the last legislative session, you can cheer for that. So the last time, I think in that spirit of how we've done this, that I look to myself first to do better for the state of Minnesota, to do so in the spirit that Speaker Hortman understood this needed to be done, to stand firmly on your principles, but to see the humanity in one another. That is an incredible gift. I miss my friend every day. I miss the wisdom that she brought, the humor, the decency. And I just hope the work that we do here does her proud, because she cared so deeply about this institution that it's all of our responsibilities to continue to carry that out. So to the Hortman family, may you find peace in those incredible memories. May you know that Mark and Melissa made an impact on all of us that will last our lifetimes. Their memory is not going to die. Their memory is going to build a better Minnesota. And thank you for sharing those two beautiful people with us.